Dear students, in this video, we are going to learn the formula to find the sum of first n natural numbers. So what is meant when we say that we want to find the sum of first n natural numbers? So we know that natural numbers begin from 1. So the set of natural numbers looks something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on up till infinity. So 0 is not a natural number. The natural number begins from 1 onward. So what is meant when we say that we want to find the sum of first n natural numbers? So suppose n is equal to 3. So we are basically saying that we want to find the sum of first 3 natural numbers. So which are the first 3 natural numbers? 1, 2 and 3. So if n is equal to 3, this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to find the sum of first 3 natural numbers, and it comes out to be equal to 6. Similarly, if n is equal to, let's say, 7. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to find the sum of first 7 natural numbers. That means beginning from 1, the sum up till natural number 7. So that means this is what we would be trying to do if we assume n is equal to 7. So this is what is meant when we say that we are trying to find the sum of first n natural number. Fine. So we have a formula for this. There is a very interesting story beside the discovery of this formula. So there is this great mathematician which you should know about. So his name was Carl Friedrich Gauss. So he existed in 18th century and 19th century. Fine. So he was a great mathematician as well as great physics, scientist who contributed in the field of physics as well. Now, he is the person who discovered that if somebody asks you to calculate the sum of first n natural number, instead of doing it this way, instead of writing numbers one by one, you can straight away use a formula, and this is the formula. So it is this great mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss who found out that formula. Now there is a very interesting story behind this. Now when Gauss was just a small child, he was like 9 or 10 years old, and he studied in a village side school. So his school was in a not very fancy school. So he was not very did not belong to a very rich family. So he studied in a village side school. He was only 9 to 10 years old. Probably he was studying in class 3 at that time. So what happened one day is that his teacher was not feeling well. Fine, because it happens that many a times that teacher don't feel well. So what the teacher thought that he will give a challenge to all the students sitting in a class, so that students become busy and teacher do not have to teach because teacher was not feeling well. So what teacher did is that he went to the board and wrote down this puzzle: 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So he wrote this on the board: 98 plus 99 plus 100. And then he asked his student that find the sum of all these numbers. Sum of all these numbers. So teacher thought that students will take at least 30-40 minutes, because it is not easy to count the correct sum without mistake. They were very small children in the class. They were hardly like 9 to 10 years old. So teacher thought that let me give this puzzle to my small students, and they will become busy. They will not make noise, and I can take rest peacefully. So teacher thought, okay, now my job is done. This student will be busy for next 30 to 40 minutes. Now what happened? After 2-3 minutes, just after 2 to 3 minutes, hardly 2 or 3 minutes were gone, suddenly a small child, his name was Carl Friedrich Gauss, he stood up and said, dear teacher, I want to tell you the answer. The teacher was surprised. Teacher thought, okay, he must be joking, he must be bluffing. How can a small child find the correct answer so quickly? So he said that, okay, he's talking rubbish. He will give some wrong answer. So he told to the child, okay, tell me the answer. Gauss immediately gave the right answer. He said that the sum of the numbers that you have written on blackboard is 5050. The teacher was astonished. The teacher was surprised that how did he found out the sum so quickly? Because remember, that time there was no formula. This child discovered the formula, and this is the story how this formula was discovered. That even the teacher was not aware that he will come up with the answer so quickly. So how did this small child find out the answer so quickly? How did this small child found out this formula? So this formula is given by Carl Friedrich Gauss when he was only 9 years old. Now let us see, how did he think out this formula so quickly? How can a 9-year-old child come up with a formula? One of the most useful formula of mathematics. Let us understand. So this is the formula that Carl Friedrich Gauss gave. Sum of first and natural numbers. So he first found out this formula, and then he gave the answer using this formula. So in this formula, the teacher had given the value of n is equal to 100 because the teacher had asked his student to find the sum up till 100. So in this scenario, the value of n is equal to 100. So Carl Friedrich first came up with this formula, and immediately he put the value of n in this formula and gave the answer correctly to his teacher. So put, instead of n, put 100. So 100 multiplied by 100 plus 1. So this is multiplication symbol, divided by, here this is 2. So divided by 2. So this is equal to 100 multiplied by 101 divided by 2. So this 100 and this 2 can be cancelled out. So 50 multiplied by 100 and 1. So this is equal to 5050. And this is the answer that Gauss had given to his teacher. But now the point is, how did he give this answer so quickly? How did a small child think of this formula? Now let us see, how did he come up with this formula? So this is what his teacher had given him as a challenge, that find the sum of first n natural number. The exact problem was n is equal to 100. But let us be generic. Let us see what Gauss thought, what Gauss wrote later on in his book. This exactly. So his brain began to think that my teacher has given me the challenge that find the sum of all these numbers. So let the sum be equal to s. So s is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus continue adding up till the last natural number n. So let's write this series in reverse order. So if you write this series, same series in reverse order, so this n has been written here. So I have simply written the series in reverse order, nothing more. Same series. So if this is S, this is also S. So Gauss wrote the series, first the natural series, and the second time he wrote it in reverse order. Now Gauss immediately realized a pattern. Now let us see, what did Gauss realize. So look here. The sum of these two numbers, 1 and n. So this is 1 plus n. The sum of these two numbers is 1 plus n, or you can say n plus 1. Now look at these two numbers, n minus 1 plus 2. Here also, if you add both these numbers, the sum is equal to n plus 1. Again, if you look, the number written upside down. So two numbers written up and down, if you add them, n minus 2 plus 3. Again, if you add these two numbers, the sum is n plus 1. Fine. So same again. n minus 2 plus 3, if you add these two numbers, the sum you will get is n plus 1. You can verify. N minus 1 plus 2, again the sum comes out to be equal to n plus 1. The last pair, look at the last pair. Again the sum is n plus 1. So this is what Gauss realized. This is what Gauss realized. And he immediately came up with the formula. So from here to here, there are n pairs of numbers formed, and each pair has the value n plus 1. So if you add this s plus s, you get 2s. So 2s is equal to, there are n pairs and each pair has the value n plus 1. So total sum is equal to n into n plus 1. But this is 2s. You have to find out the value of s, not of 2s. So from here, s is equal to n into n plus 1, and this 2 goes there and gets, becomes the denominator. So the formula is s is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2. So this is how Gauss came up with this formula. So this is one of the most powerful and most commonly used formula in mathematics. So you have to remember this. The next time somebody gives you such a problem, you should use this formula and you should not add numbers one by one. So what is the formula? We just saw sum of first n natural numbers. The formula is n into n plus 1 by 2. N into n plus 1 by 2. So for example, if I ask you to find the sum 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up till, let's say, 25. So how can you use this formula? So simply in place of n, you have to replace 25 and you will get the answer. So here you have to understand something. The counting must begin from 1 and all the natural numbers must be included. Fine. So counting must begin from 1 because it says first n natural number. So from the beginning, if you are counting, only then can you use this formula. So let's see a few good level questions based on this concept. So for we are going to solve a few questions in second part of this video. To be able to solve those questions, you have to be aware of this formula. So now we have seen the formula. In the second part of this video, we will see the questions based on this formula.